I'm a great believer, Nick, in the power of media, and we thank you for that. But it is not enough to be heard in media to reverberate all over the world. We must make sure that the political leaders of the developed nations must actually do something, not only in terms of legislation, but actual assistance in terms of adaptation, direct, tangible, implementable assistance for the developed nations, which will soon lose their geography, their people, their culture, their livelihood. We must have concrete projects to relocate the 100,000 Kiribati and the people of the Maldives who will lose people and livelihood in 4 years. So it is a responsibility of the developed nations to be able to absorb these so-called climate refugees in 40 years or less. But of course, the media is very good. We cannot underestimate the power of media. And we must do it not just in the national, international media, but in the local community media, so that those who work in the agriculture sector, the fisher folks, would really understand the importance on what is their contribution towards adapting and mitigating in their own small way.
John Kufuor, are you missing a trick at the moment, not engaging the media and going up on Capitol Hill in the way you just suggested?
I believe the media is already engaged, because I don't see my country as insulated against the media spread around the globe in the ICT era. You press the button, you see what's happening in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, everywhere. What is important is for an organization such as the Forum to mount a campaign, global campaign. So the global audience, including the audience in our countries, get to hear what's happening to us from climate change, and to enlist the people across the board to prevail on their governments to do what is right, to bear their share of the responsibility in terms of the slogan of common but differentiated responsibilities, for every polity to bear its share, fair share of the responsibility of fighting against the change.
Plenty more voices, please.
Thank you, sir. I would like to commend the Global Humanitarian.
Could you just
Forum.
introduce yourself, please?
I am Loren from IOM. I am Senegalese from origin, and I work in IOM during 10 years, these 10 last years. I would like to raise the question of migration, and I am happy that many of the panelists already have spoken about that. Migration is a missing link in this strategy, global strategy to fight against climate change. And talking about migration, I think that this afternoon we will come back to that, but answering to the President of Kiribati, I think that you are in the right track, sir, because having a mechanism that will allow you to have a process, a progressive process of resettling your people in a safe land, dry land, this is the future. This is the sustainable solution. Now, coming back to Africa, to President Kufuor, you know, we are in the same region, those regions that is known as the very Sahel. We are in the Sahel, in the Sahara. This band of countries, in the censored countries, the 23 or 24 countries, member of the censored, we have no strategy to face this kind of threats. I'm sorry. And migration can be even considered as a strategy of adaptation, because you know that in the nomad territories, people move where they find resources. But when they are somewhere where resources are, they use the resources all around, and they move in another way. And it impacts also to the climate. And this is a vicious circle we use to notice in this region. And my last point will be on how the Global Humanitarian Forum or any else structure can help the countries to anticipate what is coming in. Everybody knows what is going on. Everybody is aware about what will happen in 10 years or 5 years. But nobody, in particular the African governments, I think I am very, very concerned by the attitude of the African government. They are not so responsible or not enough responsive of what is going on in this field. I have also in this room, sir, some people working or speaking in French, and they are absolutely frustrated not to be able to contribute correctly in this debate. This is the very problem we have to allow us to express ourselves in due time and as pertinent as you should want to do so. Thank you.
I can't explain the translation issue. That would be for others. There are a lot of issues coming up here, and there are several people out there who I want to go to. But John Kufuor, no strategy for these threats, African governments not being responsive enough.
I want to react to the bit about the African governments not being responsible or responsive enough. It's not quite true. I believe the problem with climate change really is that practically the whole world has been overtaken by the challenge. And this is why even the advanced parts of the world are now groping to find solutions or positions in tackling the problem. So you can imagine our part of the world where people are struggling to eke daily sustenance. And this extends from the people to their governments. It's a matter of being handicapped, the lack of capacity, of technical advice.
But is it a fair criticism?
It's not fair in the sense of the word responsible. I would move from there to responsive, because once governments get to appreciate, they try to do something. Only their efforts tend to be feeble because of lack of resources. So it's building capacity in the governments so they can do the right thing. When I was speaking, I talked of countries sharing river courses. We are trying, you know, the Mano River group, for instance, and then Ghana, Burkina Faso. We're trying to see how we can manage the river Volta so we'll derive maximum benefit mutually for the countries. We find that migrants, or nomads, as you use the word, nomad, herdsmen who move from, say, Mali and sometimes Niger across borders to Ghana to find grazing, they come without passports or permission. Before you know, the farms are invaded by cattle, eating up crops that local farmers have tried to farm over the years from their meager resources. And a lot of times, these lead to conflicts. Governments try to intercede, but to what effect? Because it happens every year. It's a cyclical thing. And if governments are empowered, I believe you find that the wish is there. Only the tools are lacking. Fine. So it's not irresponsibility. I would say it's not irresponsibility. But it's just a matter of our all being caught in a sort of trap. And this is what we're talking about.
We have about 15 minutes to run, so be patient. I'm going to go to as many voices as possible. Aubrey Mayer.